much love have you felt from the community, from the Starbucks crew, and everybody else? How much love has been just
You know, that's the thing I feel beyond blessed about. I have so many people with me, for sure. I mean, and like the core beyond, you know, it kind of helps you withstand, because you know whenever you take the head job, you know, there's a lot of random people reach out with a lot of advice, right? And I'm well aware when we don't do well, much more than we have been in the past, I feel like, but it's only because I'm here, right? But the core of people here, meaning in this chair, but the community is amazing. You know, they're with you no matter what happens. So I've felt that since I got announced, and it stayed true through the young season so far. You know, young with 2/3 of it is left. But yeah, I don't think anybody could feel that warmth that I feel on a daily basis when I'm right here in Carver.
As you got a chance to kind of look back at the loss of Michigan State, what kind of stood out as a couple of things that need to be improved on?
Well, you know, that the pressure, I think we have to continue getting really good at the pressure, at least better, right? You know, pressure does that occasionally. Even the best of teams, it's going to surprise you, or you're going to think you can make a pass. But I think we just haven't taken that next step. We were better, actually. It didn't appear, I know, but I think we understood what we're trying to do better. But I think it was really more so than the pressure was we had about a 2.5 to 3 minute stretch in the time we had the 9-point lead, whereas the first time I felt we just kind of didn't stay locked in. We kind of went off those rails, and that was the difference. I mean, it wasn't just the press; it was defensive assignments. It was not running our sets. It wasn't. It was about everything that you could have totally done the opposite. I think that's what happened in that game. But you could probably always trace it back to the pressure. But I think we learned. I think we grew, because despite that, we still had a chance to win. I mean, we had a couple different options. You know, Hannah, I called the look for Hannah, and then Lucy I'll go with Lucy's look all day with that. So that's what, after I kind of get done, you know, hammering myself and, you know, feeling frustrated, I have a tendency to really look at all the possibilities. And there's so many more possibilities to focus on that I think as we keep going up this mountain, if we use it, I think, you know, the goal is to be playing your best basketball later. And I think the things that I've seen are definitely doable and fixable.
When you talk about better handling the pressure of the press, like you said, you did have some success in areas on Sunday. Is it a matter of implementing some new press breaks, or just working on
Yeah. I think I'm constantly trying to figure out who's okay being where I want them. Because on paper, where I think I want people, it doesn't always show that maybe that's where they want to be or need to be. So that's kind of constant, and you can do that in practice, but you just can't learn as much as when the lights are on and the pressure, the simulation of that win or loss. So every time we've made a couple different tweaks of it, I've added a couple different things. It's looked a little better in practice, but you don't really know. But yeah, I mean, we're not doing the same old thing that we did after the Tennessee game. We've done some different things. I'm trying to streamline it, trying to figure out who's really better where. But we'll see. What I think I like, I may not like after we face it again. But yeah, we are trying to tweak that. I mean, that's a big thing. We got to we don't have to be perfect, but we have to be much better.
Yeah, a couple things.
Yeah.
One, Caitlin Clark, time athlete of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to have a pretty big game in February against USC, and she's going to have a number retired. I guess maybe your reaction to some of that stuff, but also, I mean, can you just describe maybe the impact she's had on this year's Iowa Hawkeyes?
Yeah. Well, I think Caitlin's impact, will not just be on this year's, but in, I think most every year to come. I think I've used that Michael Jordan analogy with North Carolina, right? He will always be part of the lore, will always be part, I think, he is Jordan, right? So the people who have the Jordan brand, that's Jordan, right? I think Caitlin is similar in that impact. I think she's amazing in what she continues to handle with all that she's done and succeeded. The way that kid can manage and shine far exceeds anything that her critics can throw at her. She changed the game. She moved the needle along with, I think, Coach Bluter and our, the staff. We all came together with that. But I think she is so deserving. I mean, that Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, just so it's monumental, right? I just think the point of something like that. So very proud of her. Boy, she continues to just live up to all the hype. And I think this year's team is no more or less than everybody else. I mean, they're so locked in to try to hold the standard. They're proud of what she's done, excited about it. They're excited that they have the opportunity. So I think it's just like mostly everybody else. You're happy that she's been a part of it. You're proud that she's a Hawk, but they're more thinking about the next game. And no one's really thought about USC yet. I mean, that's fun. It's there. We know they're on our schedule. We've known for a long time that'll be the jersey retirement, but we're pretty locked in. There's no jumping ahead. We know full well we got a huge game tomorrow night.
Coach Bluter was always put a lot of emphasis on these in-state races, trying to win the Iowa State Championship or whatever you want to call it. Have you kind of carried that same thing about?
Well, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, way back early days when we were at Drake, when we were state champs, I remember vividly all the times that you get to be. And it's more out of respect. It wouldn't be a big deal to be a state champ if you were walking away with it and you were winning all these games, by ease. And I think that's what makes the state championship in the state of Iowa. But it's more fun. It's kind of like all those, what are those football trophy games? Floyd of Rosedale, whatever. I mean, they're fun, they're hype, but the impact of which, they have, maybe football's a little more weighted. You only have, 12 games, 13 games? But, I mean, you're playing for that, but then you move on, right? So we're playing for that. I think it'd be a great accomplishment for this group. But I know Tanya and her staff, I mean, they're sitting at the same spot we are. I know that they have to play Drake, but they have a whole conference rivalry there, but they've all, already beaten Iowa State. But yeah, I think the state championship, the mythical title is really cool. And I would love nothing better than this group to defend the one that we have.
Do you hope that these games continue? I mean, that you guys keep scheduling these games against UNI and Drake?
Yeah.
Actually, because obviously the men don't play.
Yeah.
So do you want to
Yeah.
play those?
Well, I think, Bill Finley, I saw a clip, where they are hard. And I don't think any of the women's team, we have any ideas to not do them. But I think it's always worth noting that they are really hard. And if you're the big guy in the fight, there's a lot of pressure on it, and there's a lot of expectation. And, if you win it, you're supposed to. If you lose it, everybody wants to, cry chicken little. But we know as coaches, it's really, it's just a lot of respect. So they're hard. They're especially hard in everybody's home and environment. So I don't think there's any thought to that. There's so much mutual respect. But I just think that as coaches, we understand. I think everybody, frustrated when the men didn't do the series, but there's a lot in nets. There's a lot in RPI rankings. There's a lot of just putting together a schedule. And I think that, probably all of that comes into play. But yeah, no, it's, they're fun when you win them. They're fun to watch. It's just really hard to coach in them.
Lucy, just feels like a perfect fit for the culture that you've created here so far. You're always smiling. She's always smiling. It seems like, she gets on with her teammates really well. She's also stepped into, a primary scorer role. Can you just talk about how she's kind of ingratiated herself here over the, first month of the season?
Yeah. I think Lucy, when she came in, just when we even recruited her, you're just a perfect fit. She was gelling with the team. She just has kind of, even though she's from the East Coast, she has kind of just a great like Midwestern perspective in some ways. You know, she did mention when she came, you know, like, hey, they are really nice. This Iowa nice thing is real, right? She wasn't as used to that, right? Maybe stereotypically, but she just has an appreciation to be here. She has an appreciation that she gets to be a part of all of this. I mean, I love that she appreciates our home crowd so much. So I think number one, she came in as a big portal get, and she never acted like a big portal get. She came in and she learned the lay of the land, and she was always showing that humility, but her game in the summer was always showing why she was a portal get, right? And I think she's had a hard role because a lot of the spotlight's been on her, but she's had to learn everything just like a freshman. But oh yeah, you have to lead us. Yeah, you kind of have to be the one that does everything, and you can't have a whole lot of time to be new. So everything, you mentioned her press breaks were a lot different than what we're trying to do, the way they set things up, the way they played. So she's fitting into a system and I think feeling a lot of that stress and pressure, but you would never know it.
Last time we talked to you, there was a little bit of conversation about kind of team chemistry and after the offseason injuries, you know, especially between Sid, Hannah, and Lucy. Do you feel like you, as a team, are close to getting like 100% in terms of that chemistry, or are we still maybe a month away from seeing this team?
You know, I do think we're getting closer. I think, you know, they just got to play a little bit more together. I think that we got tested pretty good in that Michigan State game, and, you know, it would have been nice had they could have learned and grown and got a win with that. But I think, you know, yes, I better be a lot better in a month. But it needs to be, it's not an excuse. It just there just is something about every day when you're playing together and you just start to know. You know when Hannah's going to do something. You know when Sid's got that look in her eye and she's driving, so I'm going to square up. And it just makes you better. It doesn't mean that we would have gotten the Tennessee game, or definitely we should have gotten, you know, the Michigan State game. All credit to them, but I feel like we had our possessions to win it. So I think it'll get better. It's already better, and everybody is now, you know, been more healthier, so they get a lot more reps in practice together. So that's going to need to, I mean, regardless if they were in or out, by the time you hit February or January 25th, you only got about 4 weeks left. So everybody better be knowing what we're doing and feeling it without the spoken word, because that's really when you have your special years.
Jan, I know I asked you
Yeah.
about this a while ago, but it seems like all of your post players over their career drastically improved their free throw shooting. There was, you know, Megan, Monica, now Hannah, we're up to 71%.
Right.
It feels like she's shooting with a lot of confidence. And she's getting to the line a lot as well. Can you just talk about maybe your progression from the free throw?
Yeah, well, I just think that she had to go through a pressure cooker. I don't think kids in high school know how hard it's going to be. I think they shoot 20 free throws extra a day and, you know, call it good. So I think she upped her focus on it. We worked a little bit on the release, and I think she actually practiced it. I know the system, you know, attack system she came from, and her coach in high school, I mean, they were working with her. But just think time. Until you get here and, you know, okay, do you want to keep missing free throws in crunch time? Or do you want to make shots? Do you want to be that person, or do you want to be this person? And I think it began to click that, oh, I think I can be this person and I want to be this person. So I think she just put a lot more effort into it. You know, those players like Hannah, they can win a lot just by showing up, right? Because you miss a few free throws, but you usually, you know, you get fouled enough. If you're shooting 50%, you know, you feel like you're still going to have a pretty good game. So I think she just put a lot more emphasis and then, you know, grew in her mental fortitude.
UNI is really led by that guard play. I mean, Maya McDermott is seemingly taking
Love her.
it to another level, and then Villanova is 50% from three-point range.
Crazy.
Near the top and
Yeah.
making threes. Just what's it going to be like going up against them?
Well, you know, the thing about these in-state games, you know, those kids came, you know, they came to all of our camps too, right? And we recruited both of them until you get to a point where you just don't have that many scholarships. And Maya McDermott, her mom actually worked with my spouse, and so way back. So there's a lot of intermingling always with the in-state rivalries typically. And I have loved how Maya plays. Boy, she plays so hard and finishing, man. If you watch her enough, she'll make these crazy finishes and people be like, oh, Well, it's not an O. I mean, she's good. She practices these crazy little loopy finishes, and she can just kill you with the three, and she's crafty. So, they've kept me up at night a lot the last 3 nights, I can tell you that. And, boy, Lowby's shot is as pure and as quick as they come. And they do a lot of great actions for him. They do a lot of misdirection. They have a lot of different sets they throw at you, and they're smart. If you're going to switch, they got a counter. If you're going to stick with them, they got a counter. You're going to chase, they got a counter. You go under, they got a counter. Really well coached, and they run things that make you think on defense. It's not easy sets, so they're really good. I think their record's 5-5, but look at their point margin of losses to good schools. So we have our hands full, and those two lead the way.
The other player I wanted to ask about, guard, forward, whatever you want to call it, Riley Goebel, I lose their name.
Mm-hmm.
23, 25 steals, whatever, a lot of block shots. How unique is that to see someone at her position be able to do both?
Yeah, she's really long and lean. And, UNI, they run a lot of defense stuff. They run a lot. They're going to trap you at half court. They're going to pick you up 3/4. Sometimes it's going to be full court. Sometimes they're going to give the illusion of a trap. And she's got these long arms, and she really makes it difficult to see passing lanes. So she gets a lot of tips. She's athletic. So with their stuff that they throw at you, she's pretty helpful because their stuff is different enough, but when you got a long, lean guard forward that can do that, she can make it pretty difficult if they put her at the top or they put her at a wing, and she's pretty hard to throw around.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
And it seems like every other week I see you out in the community doing something. We've got a photographer going out to shoot you doing some sort of event. How is it that local events like that, especially in Cedar Rapids, are so important to you, or why is that something you really want to be a part of?
Yeah, I think it's awesome, especially giving back to kids. I was in that position too, so just being able to be someone that's a good role model for my community back at home is really special for me.
Question for both of you. You get a chance tomorrow to win the Iowa State title, whatever you want to call it. And Hannah, for you, I know that Coach Gluter always stressed trying to win that state title. Has Jan been the same way, stressing that this is an important game, more than just winning a game, but to control the state?
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially proving ourselves to be the best in the state is really important for us. So getting this win tomorrow will be big, and Coach Jay wants it. We all want it really bad, so we've been preparing for it.
And then for you, Lucy, this is your first time going up against all the Iowa schools. I guess what's been your thoughts on Drake and Iowa State, and then obviously UNI tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean every team's really good, so you can't take anyone lightly. And I think, like Hannah said, like Coach Jay really wants it. We all really want it, and yeah, these in-state games are different. So.
How important is it for you guys to I know Iowa State was big after the Tennessee loss to kind of have a bounce back game. Is that kind of the same motivation or same idea going into this game too, that you guys need a bounce back before you get into Big Ten games?
Yeah, I think it'll be nice this game's big because it's state game and then our last out-of-conference game until we start really getting into Big Ten, and we have a little winter break, so I think we all want to go into break feeling good and not thinking about a loss.
Lucy, for those who don't know, what can you tell us about Collegeville, Pennsylvania?
It's far away. I haven't been back since August, so I forget what it's like. I don't know. It's pretty similar, I think.
Just as far as like your transition to Iowa goes, can you just tell us, what your experience has been like, what you like about it? Obviously you played in front of some great crowds and some great games so far too.
Yeah, I mean the community is great. Everyone's super nice. Everyone loves women's basketball, super supportive. You see people out in public, and they're nothing but great to you. Yeah, it's just been a great experience, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
Lucy, you mentioned not wanting to go into the winter break with a bad feeling coming off a loss or something like that. How important is that to try to get a win tomorrow, just for that feeling that you don't have to sit on a loss for a week or so?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely part of it, but you don't want to lose any game ever and sit on that. I think we've done a good job of bouncing back and looking forward to the next game, but learning from the last, and I think it'll be the same.
And where are you at health-wise? I mean, I know that maybe there was a little bit of slower start to the season than maybe you would have hoped or fans would have liked to see, but the last couple beginning to look pretty solid. Do you feel like you're at 100 right now, or are you still kind of getting back to that point after some of the offseason issues?
Yeah, I'm getting there for sure. I would say 95%. But yeah, lots of rehab, lots of cold tub, hot tub, all the stuff.
Are you guys all getting that sense right now? I mean, I know the offseason discussion was just about how there wasn't many opportunities to build that chemistry between, especially like you and Sid and Lucy all on the floor together. Is that continuing to grow? I mean, is that just daily starting to build?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every day we get closer to where we want to be at, and we just keep getting better, which is really fun to do. Learning how to play with each other, it's not an easy thing to do, but I think our chemistry builds more and more.
Lucy, wanted to ask about the guards for UNI that can, I mean, Maya McDermott can score a lot of points, but her and Villanova can really shoot the three ball. What are the keys to making sure that they don't really have a big night tomorrow?
Yeah, they're both really tough, and we've watched a lot of film on them, so we've got to go out there, play our best defensive game. They're going to be good players. They're going to score the ball, but we can't get down on that. We got to just make it as hard as possible each time.
And then Hannah, they've got a forward that can block shots. I think she's up there in steals and block shots. Just going up against her, what are the keys to make sure that she doesn't get to you in the defensive way?
Going up strong. I don't know, just making sure I'm shot faking. Obviously, that's how you handle shot blockers.
And you're shooting 71% from the line this season. You're also getting to the line a lot more. Do you feel more confidence when you go to the charity stripe right now?
Yes, I'm not nervous up there anymore, so that's really good. I had a lot of reps this summer because I wasn't jumping, so yeah, it's coming along great. I love it.
Yeah, what does lead to that confidence that you feel at the line? Is it just off-season reps, or did you learn anything in particular in the off-season? Anybody that kind of came in and coached you at all?
Yeah, Tanaya Davis, she's, I work with her a lot on everything, so she's instilled a lot of confidence in me, especially this past summer.
Lucy, we've heard a lot about, what you enjoyed about Iowa City and coming here and playing here. Anything that's been a challenge for you this season? I mean, just the longest you've lived far away from home, I imagine. Is it just like the distance that you are from all your friends and family back home? Has that been your biggest challenge so far?
My family's done a pretty good job of coming out to games, so I feel like that's like being at home, and I love my team so much, so I feel like that hasn't bothered me too much, but probably just finding my role, playing with new players. Yeah, that was the hardest part, but it's going well, so it's been a pretty good experience.
Is there still some kind of chemistry to build there too? Do you feel like you still even are kind of figuring out where you belong in the system or how that kind of goes?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we get glimpses of all of us like really clicking, and it feels awesome, but it's hard to keep that going. I think as the season goes on, we'll keep clicking more, and soon we'll have full games of us all playing together really well.
Basketball is fun. Where does that come from?
My freshman year, after our first March Madness game, we beat BYU, and then I was in the press conference and someone asked, I don't even know what they asked me, but I just was a little freshman. I was like, oh, like I love playing basketball, it's so fun. And then, my family was joking, they're like, oh, you're so good at interviews, great job, Lucy, basketball's fun. And then, I don't know, throughout the years, like I've just always smiled, and then it kind of just became a thing because I do love basketball so much and it is fun. And even though it was a silly little comment I made, like it stands for who I am. So.
Do you feel like this is the most fun you've had playing basketball here?
Yeah, for sure. Every game is so fun. And even the games that I'm like, oh my God, that was horrible. Everyone's like, you were smiling so much. I'm like, I was. Like inside I was not smiling. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just having the time of my life right now.